Hi, everyone. My name's Andy Fleming. I've been a missionary minister with the ICOC for more than 40 years now. I presently live in London, UK with my wife. We're very happy to be here and working with the East London congregation. Thinking back to how my folks got involved with Hope Worldwide Canada, it dates back to the planting of the Moscow church. After we've been in Moscow for just a few months, the church in Stockholm, where my wife and I had been prior to that, decided to take up a collection to meet the need of a soup kitchen for pensioners whose pensions were basically devalued and really didn't have enough money even to provide with the bare necessities. They funded, the Stockholm church through their collection funded that soup kitchen for a year. Then my parents picked that up and began to support that soup kitchen back in 92. That was a cooperative effort that they began to work through Hope Worldwide Canada. I think what was very cute was, of course, my parents were pretty much the same age as the people that were going to the soup kitchen. So they actually had a chance in person to visit and meet them. And that was just a very tender moment. But I do want to say just to all those of you involved with Hope Worldwide Canada, it's very exciting to be able to share what we have. And it's a biblical principle that those with more share with those that have less. For those of you in Canada, you are living in a in a society, and of course, I know there's exceptions even within Canadian society, but you're living in a place where, for the most part, people have all their necessities and there's opportunities for work, etc. And it's so awesome when you guys can pool your resources. So I just want to wish Hope Worldwide Canada a wonderful 30th anniversary. Please keep up all your great work. Use your imaginations to think of even more things. And this is definitely part of the ministry of Jesus. Jesus wasn't just a preacher, he was a healer. And so I'm very excited just for the ways that Hope Worldwide Canada can, live out that mission in a very honorable and awesome way and bring much glory to God and also bring a little glory to Canada too, since it's coming from you guys. So love from London, UK to all of you, and just wish you a great continuance in the future.
Hello, my name is Neville Yee, and I'm the president of Hope Worldwide Canada. One day after church on Sunday, a friend came to me and told me another mutual friend was looking for people to be a part of Hope Worldwide. Knowing what I have been through with the illness of my wife, I told Taras that I would like to be a part of the organization to help others that are in need. After the board meeting, I was told that I am a new member of the board. Since I started with Hope in 2006, we have seen growth from 3 groups in Toronto to 13 chapters across Canada. My hope for the future is getting younger people to start getting more involved in Hope Worldwide, not just helping in volunteering, but being involved in making decisions at chapter and board level. And I just want to say thank you for all your service and giving selflessly of your time in helping others. And as Matthew 20:40 says, the king will reply, truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adeline Osland. I am a widow, a mother of 4, a grandmother, and also a great-grandmother. Lyle, my husband, was a chartered accountant and worked in various areas of his profession. His last position was administrator for the Toronto Church of Christ. Lyle's interest was always helping people. He was a quiet man with a gift for communicating and negotiating. His work often found him in constant communication with lawyers. In 1993, he sat at a table with Dave Eastman, Bob and Pat Gempel, who were leaders of Hope in the States, and Val and Art Fleming. The discussion centered around how to set up Hope Worldwide of Canada for the Toronto Church. After all the legalities Val had to go through, Hope Worldwide of Canada was incorporated as a registered charity. I remember the beginning walkathons. So many members were happy to participate. Not only were we raising money for a great cause, we were having a whole lot of fun together. The walkathons and cyclings, as far as I know, continue to this day. I am so proud of the volunteers who head Hope Worldwide of Canada. I know that Lyle would be so proud of how Hope has been able to reach out and give financial aid to so many areas where there has been a need. It seems like disasters are happening more often than ever before. My prayer is that Hope Worldwide of Canada will always be there to help meet the needs. May God bless us all as we continue to obey the many scriptures that God has commands us to help others in their time of need.
I'm Clovis Grant. I'm right now living in Toronto, the Toronto area, and my day job is the Chief Executive Officer for an organization called 360 Kids, which provides a range of services for homeless and at-risk youth in the Greater Toronto area. In terms of my past involvement with Hope, I believe I was the first executive director for Hope Worldwide of Canada, and I led Hope from 1995 to about 2003, along with my wife, Sharon. Lots of memories. It's hard to choose, and I could be here much of the afternoon to actually talk about all the different memories. I would say it was a very special time in our lives, because being able to take something that was an idea and actually work with a wonderful group of volunteers to realize that idea. And by the time we left Hope in 2003, we were in 6 chapters across Canada, doing a lot of very special work. And along the way, I would say some of the key initiatives that was special to us. We ran a program, basketball and volleyball program for young, we call them transitional age young people. And each year we had practices. It would be based on tutoring, as well as it was a social recreational program as well. And providing opportunities for these kids to have experiences with our volunteers, and then capping it off each year with a grand tournament. Just the enthusiasm and the positive feedback. I can't help but be grateful for the support of the church. And I could go on, in terms of memories. And I guess not to divert too much away, but I would say another really fond memory was the opportunity to connect with some of our international brothers and sisters in other Hope chapters across the world. As the leaders for Canada, we were able to bring the Canadian perspective to meetings with Hope Worldwide International. Being able to connect with our international brothers and sisters in this work was also very special, and helped me to really be grounded in how amazing our country is. And my goodness, I think we take for granted what we have here in this country. And so while there are needs, and we worked with community to find those needs in Canada, to realize that even to our neighbors to the south of the border, lack of social support in many neighborhoods was appalling, and helped me realize that amidst all the challenges that we have, we really have it in a good way here in Canada.
So hi, Chris Jung here. I was involved with Hope Worldwide, I believe between 2008 out to 2013, 2014, with a stint as the country director through 2011 out to 2014. And in that time, we were building the chapter model and having to work very closely with leaders across North America and the Caribbean. Definitely an exciting time as we were looking to build out our community of volunteers across Canada and into the US and Caribbean. As the country director, when the chapter model was first brought to in its inception, my role was to set up the chapters across Canada to really see something grow from really nothing into something that has come to in its existence today. I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to drive that in these early years. I can say that there was a lot of hard work, given that we were kind of building something from scratch. I think one event that stood out to me, I think the beach cleanup that we organized across the Toronto churches. It was really heartening to see so many people coming together, really willing to, give up their time, their effort, their energy to help with the effort. What really kind of stuck out to me was the fact that people enjoyed their time serving.
I'm Roma Yusuf Andretti. I'm currently in Milestone Churches, which is in the Toronto, Mississauga. I'm also currently a student, but I'll be graduating in October from a program called Christian Studies and Global Citizenship. I've wanted to volunteer since I became a disciple almost 6 years ago, but I always prevented myself from applying for Hope Volunteer Corps because I looked at the money and I thought that I wouldn't be able to afford the flight or anything. In a way, I stopped God from working in me because I put power over the money and I didn't think that he would be able to make it happen. But after I went to an international conference in Orlando, I had more courage to apply to try and see what would happen. And at first, money was a bit challenging, but that's because I was trying to solve the problem on my own. But eventually I was led to Lebanon, especially because someone shared about their experience as a missionary in Lebanon, like in the Middle East, and I was really inspired by them. Ever since Lebanon was an option, I wanted to apply, but I wasn't always employed, so I tried last year. And at first, it didn't happen because I didn't save up in time. So I tried again, and the Hope Worldwide staff helped me to transfer my application. And so I was able to go on the Hope Volunteer Corps. Of course, when you go for Hope Volunteer Corps, the goal is to serve, but it's different when you're actually seeing the people and you're seeing how God is using them, especially when they were interacting with the children at the boarding school. We were all like doing different roles. We were working with different kids in different age groups, but I was able to watch everyone engage with the kids and earn their trust. And some people were teaching and they were really impacting the kids. And God's love was really being shown to them. And that's something that really impacted me. Even when we were visiting a family, I loved being able to buy groceries for them. And through that experience, I also learned more about the situation in Lebanon pertaining to the economic crisis. And that wouldn't have happened if we weren't really involved in the community. And that's an experience that I still think about, that I take with me. And I'm really grateful to Hope Worldwide for putting it together. It reinforced my heart for justice and for serving people. This is something that God put on my heart for a long time, but I didn't know in what capacity he wanted me to serve. But after going to Lebanon, I was reminded that this is what he wanted me to do. And when I went there, I felt like I was at the right place at the right time. I will definitely continue serving in other contexts because that's something that God put on my heart, and I think that's what he wants me to do in the future.
My name is Jessica Marie. I grew up in Halifax, Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada, but now I actually live and work in London, England in the full-time ministry. I've been volunteering with Hope Worldwide, the Halifax chapter, since I moved there when I was 10. Yeah, Hope Worldwide was really a big part of our church growing up. So many fond memories working with Hope Worldwide Canada, in particular in Halifax. A really special program that the Halifax Hope chapter is involved in, even to this day, is called Sunday Suppers, which is essentially a community meal that takes place for anyone who wants a hot meal or great company on a Sunday evening in the city center in Halifax. And various groups are in charge of actually cooking the food week to week, but there's also a core group of volunteers who help serve the food table to table and just engage with our guests. And so for years, I'd been coming every few months to help prepare the food. But then when I went to university, I decided to start coming every week because it literally is down the road from Dalhousie University, which is where I went to school. And it just was a transformative experience. Initially, I did the, packing meal duties or plating up the food or serving the food with a smile. But after a while, I realized that I'd been there for a long time and I just really wanted to get to know the guests better. And so I started picking a different table week to week and essentially inviting myself to their dinner table. And this is a community that has been well established for, I don't know, going on 30 years. And so some of these people have been coming to the Sunday suppers every week for many years, and they have their like special tables with their special friends. And I would just like insert myself into their meal on a Sunday night, and just loved hearing about their stories and their victories and their obstacles, their joys and their pains, and just sharing my life with them as well. And it was just amazing because they really literally watched me grow up. I just think, yeah, I found family and community and saw so much about how much fun it must have been for Jesus to serve and just get to know these people that I wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to know apart from the Sunday supper. And it was just, yeah, such a blessing to be able to display even just a fraction of like Jesus' love to them. And I feel like I actually gained so much more from them and from their love and their hope than I did like give to them. So that's one of my most fond memories. I think another funny memory that I was thinking about. So I am not athletic by any stretch of the imagination, but every year the Hope chapter in Halifax collaborated with the Blue Nose Marathon, and we like had a team would do a 10K, and literally every year my sister and I would do this like couch to 10K plan. And the only reason we did it is not because of our passion for running. It was just because of our passion for hope. And we believe so much in what they were doing. So we suffered through the training for 3 months every year. My family would just be like, why are you running? And I was like, basically for hope. That's it. That's the only reason why we're here. So.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Lantajo, and I am a volunteer for the Winnipeg chapter of Hope Worldwide Canada. I first got involved with Hope at a very young age. I would join in different volunteer capacities, such as cleanups, when we did day camps with children in foster care, and some other stuff like that. So I was volunteering here and there. I got really involved during my college years when this opportunity came for a summer internship, and they were looking for administrative interns and marketing, and that just turned out to be the thing that I was studying in school. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to do that. Hope Worldwide Canada really helped me career-wise, helped me learn about what makes a nonprofit, the behind the scenes of a nonprofit, and also just recognizing what gifts and talents I have that God can use. I was the marketing coordinator for 2 years, and that really just helped me realize, like, yeah, I could serve in other ways as well. It has also helped me in my relationships with the volunteers across Canada. I'm literally on Zoom calls with volunteers from Vancouver to Halifax, and now I can say that I have Canadian friends all across Canada, so that's awesome too. I think it also helped me grow spiritually in a way, trusting God in taking those risks. And I think that Hope really set that foundation there, because the volunteers that I worked with really helped me grow in that sense and let me make mistakes and learn from them. And I think that really just added to that confidence of who I am today. One thing that I think that Hope Worldwide Canada has grown from the time that I've been volunteering there is definitely bridging the gap between the older generation and the newer generation. I've taught Greg so many new terms, such as poggers, and I taught him how to dab too, which is really awesome, and he's been open to learning those new stuff. But on a serious note, I really think that Hope Worldwide Canada is doing a really great job at just bridging that gap between generations, to look back on the 30 years of how we've been doing things, but also looking forward to the next 30 years, how we can improve as a nonprofit. And I can't wait to see what Hope Worldwide Canada will look like in the next 30 years and to be a part of that.
My name is Kimberly Potter. I live here in Winnipeg. I'm part of the Winnipeg Church of Christ. So I began my journey with Hope Worldwide Canada in 2010. Originally, I've been volunteering with Hope ever since I became a disciple in Vancouver in 1996. So I've been volunteering from 96 onwards. And then in 2010, chapters were starting up across Canada. A call went out, and so I applied. I was a successful candidate. And so I went on to be chapter director up until 2017. Loved it. Got to be very involved with youth and foster care. We got to be able to spend a lot of time with disciples serving. It was an incredible, incredible time. And then in 2017, myself, along with Greg Taylor, we became the country directors for Hope Worldwide Canada. My volunteer duties really switched from those of managing a chapter and developing programs and making sure disciples got lots of opportunities to serve. And it switched to more on a national level, working with the board. I had a great opportunity to work with. And then in 2021, I stepped down from that role to take on a role at the University of Manitoba. And then, so since then, I've been sitting on the Winnipeg Chapter's advisory group, just supporting Anna and Amy and the incredible work they're doing here in Winnipeg. I've got some really wonderful memories in Hope Worldwide Canada. I think one really special memory that I will never forget, probably until the day that I die, at the end of our volunteer corps in 2018, we were putting the kids on the bus. It was the last day of day camp, and we were putting the kids on the bus, and they went on that bus crying because they felt so close to all of the disciples who had served in that day camp. And the thing that made that moment of all those kids tearing up was the fact that on the very first day, a lot of them were very distant, they weren't engaged, and it was the disciples who really poured their heart into loving those kids and working hard to pull them out of their shell and engage with them. Those disciples chased those kids all around that day camp, and they served and they loved even when those kids acted up. To see the difference from the beginning of camp to the end of the camp was massive. I still talk to some of those families who sent their children to the camp, and they're asking us when we'll be holding our next camp. And they're telling us that after all these years, that was still their child's favorite camp that they'd ever gone to. And so that just speaks to the power of the love of the disciples, that when they pour their love into people and serve with all their heart, they can really, really make people feel the love of Jesus. I had two wishes for Hope Worldwide Canada in the future. On a practical level, I would love for us to be able to start having paid staff in order to continue to grow Hope Worldwide Canada and further our mission of having every volunteer engaged. We need to be able to support our chapter directors and our chapter advisory groups. And to do that, we need to be able to have staff so that they can go and equip all those incredible volunteers. And my other dream is honestly that we can look at Hope Worldwide Canada as a whole and see this huge roster of programs and events happening throughout the year where we just see disciples consistently serving in their neighborhoods, that it's where we start seeing those that we're serving coming out to church and becoming disciples. We've seen a few people who've been recipients or who've been encouraged by Hope Worldwide Canada volunteers and they've become disciples, but I would love to see that number increase and encourage the hearts of the saints and everybody.
Hi there. My name is Greg Taylor. Family and I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I have the incredible privilege of serving as the country director for Hope Worldwide Canada as well. I get to serve on the board. Just over 10 years ago, started a local chapter here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, with some incredible volunteers, got involved in some local programs and projects in our community. Very inspiring to see volunteers just grab and take hold of this amazing opportunity to represent Jesus in their communities and really caring for, supporting, serving, and walking alongside those that are going through challenges in life and marginalized, going through some disadvantaged situations, and just what a privilege it is to be able to lend and help in a little bit of a way. Family's been involved with Hope Worldwide as well. We've had the opportunity to go serve on multiple volunteer corps around the world and just really had our eyes open to, first of all, how privileged we are in terms of where we live and the opportunities that we have living in Canada, but then also really use an opportunity to learn a lot. And this is for me personally what I love so much about volunteering. It really has helped me to grow in areas of my faith, seeing God and through our partners and our volunteers do amazing things, just really learning to grow more in my empathy and my compassion. My vision for Hope worldwide. There's a couple of things that I kind of get really excited about, and I really could see as my dream and my vision is for every one of our congregations in our faith community would have the privilege and the opportunity to host a volunteer corps in their community. It's incredible privilege to know that we are run by volunteers and with the help of part-time interns and things like that. But what could we do? What could God do if we had people employed full-time to do this? My dream, my desire, and I've already started conversations, is how can we get to a point of being able to employ people to really help take this to the next level. As well, I've got, as I look at where we are situated, and even here in Halifax, we're sitting kind of north of the Caribbean, which has always has its challenges with hurricane season and various things. And I have a vision for what could we do to possibly start and assist in a couple of other programs that help communities within the Caribbean and across the Caribbean. From the bottom of my heart, I have to say thank you. Thank you to all of our volunteers. Thank you for the people that have gone before us to kind of, we stand on the shoulders of giants in terms of people that have labored and put in place some structure and started with a small mustard seed. And so first, thank you for all of your example, your hard work and your service, enabling us to get to where we are now. Thank you to our partners, both internationally and locally and in the corporate world as well. We could not do what we do without the amazing support that we have from our volunteers and our partners. And for that, I do want to say thank you.